Hey guys, what's up? Thought I'd do another video on the install Bronco ARB Single Compressor. So basically what I'm looking at here, I actually did the install already, but I thought I'd just kind of walk through some of the hints and stuff just in case you guys are looking at doing a single, because most of the videos out there are basically for the dual. But basically I did it with the KR bracket mount. It's pretty easy. So you can see the leg down there. So I'd say the first thing I found out was that let's see, that little strut nut that is attached to the bracket, it's kind of tricky because there's a strut right behind it, as you can see. So you can see it's kind of bent forward, and that is kind of the way you have to do it. It's kind of torqued out a little bit. But other than that, it was pretty simple on putting the nuts on and putting the plate on, basically taking off those two bolts plus the ground wire and just seaming it back and sandwiching that together. The other thing I found out is that most of the videos for the twin is, I guess there's recessed nuts on the back of that, so when you put it on the plate, it's no problem. But with the single, you actually have to use the provided hex nuts and come up from the bottom and through. So it's kind of a little trickier. You can kind of see them right there. So you flip it over and just do the best you can to kind of torque those in. And you do that obviously before you put the plate on, and then attach it to the bracket that's already on. There's a lot of videos out there for the stuff that's going on, just kind of focusing on the single. So once you get that on, which it wasn't really too bad to do, then the wiring harness. Well, there's a couple other things first. I guess there's a couple on the single. There's a couple of torque nuts. And if you loosen those, everything kind of rotates around. Also, there's like a little nut there for the chuck, and that lets you make various adjustments to the whole unit. So you can see that it definitely is below the hood line the way I have it. So, I mean, and you could do it however you'd like. I think there's even a T connection that you can do. But I found that particular setup is pretty good, so not too bad. Now the wiring harness was different. It comes with a main loom, and then it comes with a second loom. Most of the twin videos has a purple wire for the power. In this case, there was no purple wire, but I think it's pretty simple. So I basically connected the black, white, red, white to the unit, because that seemed to make sense and that fits pretty good. Those additional wires I'll probably just cut away and trim out. And you can see I zip tied. Now I left the tails on just so you could see kind of where I zip tied it. I was looking at zip tying it on the back, but it looked a little bit more difficult to lean in and do that on the back. So I went with the front, which was actually worked out pretty good, because the way I have this configured, I left that side of the bracket open so I can zip tie against those slats there. So I basically zip tie that, bring it on down. Oh, by the way, it does fit with the K&N box, so if anybody's wondering. Bring it in, zip tie it along there. Then you basically have the fuse. And the fuse is right down there. I zip tied the fuse and the plug together, so that made sense. Bringing it along the front, there's a couple of points you can definitely zip tie there, and bringing it all the way over here to the battery. And I haven't really hooked up the battery yet. You can see that right now I've got the additional wire here, and I'm going to just cut, to length the positive red and the two blacks, And then my kit did come with the ring terminals, as well as a butt connector. And then that additional wire basically has, let's see, I'll show you here. On the end of it has black, yellow, red, green. And the red one is really, that black one's in the way. That's from the ground for the battery. That red one is what you want to really focus on to hook up to, in my case, to that aux switch, which would be the yellow and brown right there, and that goes to aux number 6. So I will hook up the battery, hook up the aux switch, and I'm pretty thinking that that's pretty much should be done. Once I get it done, we'll fire it up, see if it works. All right, see you. Thanks. Hopefully it'll work. All right, guys, so we finished up the install on the ARB Single, and I had to go back and do a few things that I kind of wasn't aware of that I figured out online. So basically, just to recap, we finished up the wiring here to the aux 6 switch. That is the yellow and orange wire here, and we zipped it up and we shrinked it nice, so that just kind of goes with everything else that we did in terms of all of that. But what we did over here, we had to add this pressure switch, which came with the pump up kit. I was not aware of that, but the way the harness is set up now, I totally get it. The red and blue is right here coming off of this switch. So you just plug those into the switch, and then basically that's the pressure switch. So when you turn it on, it immediately kicks off if it's not releasing any pressure. Couple of things I did figure out when you guys do the install. So initially, I think what you need to do is probably maybe move it over or keep it on those 4 bolts, but take this and swing it this way, pitch it down, because basically what's going to happen is you cannot get the hose in here when this is toggled down. So, I mean, essentially there's a nut right here. You just put the 10-meter nut, and you're going to have to loosen that up, and then this pitches down. So every time you air up, you'll have to loosen that up, because I'm going to have to pitch it down because of the roof line it's going to hit, and you just pitch it down and then close your hood. The other thing is, when you go this way, I think you can get lower. This is as low as I could get pitching it this way, and because I had the harness on this side, I really couldn't do it on this side unless I reharnessed, and I was too lazy to do that. So basically I did this, so I'm not seeing any scratches or red paint or hood bumps or anything. So I think it clears because it's sort of below the hood line, but there are some indents on the hood. So just make sure that it's low enough so it doesn't do anything. So when I tried it out, it works okay. But a couple of different things. One is when you power it up, it turns off immediately when it pressurizes until you release the air. But during the whole air up process, if I stop in between tires, it still goes on and off intermittently. I don't know if that means I have a leak somewhere. I Teflon taped everything and I tightened everything. I did not give it a leak test, so I haven't sprayed it or anything. And it just kind of intermittently goes on and off with that pressure switch throughout the whole cycle of me filling up tires. So I don't know if that's normal or not. Anybody knows that, let me know. And then I did get the pump up kit, and with that comes the, let's say the ARB, air gauge. A couple of things with this thing. Number one, when you put in the air thing here, whatever it's called, chuck thing, whatever, it doesn't really fit into some of these very well, and it leaks. So I don't know if that's just the way it's made cheap-wise. Some of them work, some of them, I mean, on one tire it doesn't leak. On the other tire you have to really kind of move it around, and some of it, so it's not really a good connector in my opinion. It just didn't seem to work very well. And then on this one right here, the function switch didn't work while I was airing up to go through the functions. I don't know what that was about. And then as you're airing up, it's not very accurate. In other words, it doesn't give you like exactly what's going in the tire. It kind of gives you a bunch of different numbers, and then you let off, and then it's kind of like not exactly at 35, it may be 36, then you have to air it down. So maybe it's me, I don't know how to use it, or maybe it's just the function of the ARB and that's how it is. But anyway, that's the whole deal. So anyway, guys, I hope that all helped you. Don't remember, you got to lower that before you do your hood. That could be a big problem. Just keep moving. I'll probably cut off these right here now. I'll trim all the tails. And, I mean, all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. And, you know, gives me peace of mind, especially since I have taken off the rear tire. And so when I'm cruising around, at least I have some air. So hope that helped, and put some comments in. Appreciate it, man. See you.